Nikola Tesla, the genius, his legend, and his inventions. Particle beam weapon. This invention started from what Tesla called Teleforce, an idea Tesla said he conceived after studying the Van de Graaf generator.
If every nation equips themselves with this, not one would dare fire the first shot.
An electrostatic machine that uses a moving belt to accumulate large amounts of electrical charge in the interior of a hollow metal sphere.
I had made appointments to unveil this at the World Peace Conference in Geneva.
The production of X-rays or experiments in particle physics and nuclear physics could be applied with the generator. According to Tesla, the particle beam weapon, also known as death ray or peace ray, was a weapon that would be capable of being used against an entire ground infantry or for anti-aircraft purposes.
Tesla was making very substantial claims about so-called Teleforce rays that could bring down airplanes from thousands of miles away.
This single weapon would be so powerful that it would be able to destroy anything that is in a radius of 300 to 400 kilometers. This would have proved to be particularly useful in preventing wars, as it would be able to put an end to it before it started at all. Between the 1920s and 1930s, there were, in addition to Tesla, other inventors such as Marconi, Matthews, or Edwin R. Scott, who claimed to have invented the weapon. In 1923, Edwin R. Scott claimed to be the first to develop a death ray, with the ability to destroy even aircraft at a great distance. Scott claimed that he worked a decade on the artifact. A year later, Harry Matthews appeared trying to sell to the British Air Ministry what he defined as a death ray. The truth is that none of them were able to show an operating model. Soon, Tesla would arrive on the scene at the beginning of the 1930s. The genius affirmed to have invented the death ray under the name of Teleforce and maintained the claim of such achievement until the end of his days. Earlier, in the mid-1910s, Tesla had already spoken of a weapon that would mark the beginning of the end of wars as they knew it. Tesla spoke about the end of gunpowder due to armed conflicts marked by electricity, a time where his cannon would be the ultimate weapon.
I have devised a complete system. Generators, motors, transformers. Everything we need to bring our civilization into the future.
Years after the fall of the Wardenclyffe Tower, with Tesla living between his great genius and inventiveness and his economic problems, he kept looking for a way to make his particle beam theory something of great importance. To do this, he went on to imagine the invention with military applications. The idea was to get some department to accept the project he had in his head. This was the reason why his dedication and efforts thereafter were directed to the service of the military. In 1934, when Tesla described the function of the weapon and the reason for its construction, he emphasized that he was all about peace. Until then, all devices that could be used for defense could also be used for the sake of aggression. This nullified the value of making improvements for the purpose of peace. Tesla developed a new idea that can be used mainly for defense. If successful and adopted, it would have revolutionized relations between nations. It would have made any country, large or small, impregnable to armies, airplanes, and other means of combat. Tesla's invention required great machinery and lots of resources, but once achieved, it would have been able to destroy anything. The Soviet Union actually invested $25,000 into the idea, asking for an exchange of plans and ideas. Upon the declassification of the Tesla's documents seized by the U.S. intelligence upon his death, it became clear that even the U.S. government was interested, among other governments.
During the Second World War, I'm sure that governments on both sides would have loved to have gotten their hands on Tesla's death ray, or at least the plans for one.
So, why couldn't Tesla develop the death ray? The answer is the same as many of the great ideas he had in life. Tesla spent his last years announcing this possibility, and despite the interest of the media, who were the ones who coined that bothersome term death ray, the financing was ultimately the one that made it impossible to carry it out. At the time of his death, Tesla had unsuccessfully approached many other companies to finally end up knocking on the doors of the governments of many allied countries, like the United Kingdom, with the sole purpose of bringing Teleforce to a successful conclusion. However, all would renounce the project due to the large investment.